Hey there, working from home as a stay-at-home mom or dad is something lots of us are taking advantage of these days in a lot of remote settings. A lot of us have found ways to work from home. And as a stay-at-home mom of four myself, who also homeschools, I found that there are huge benefits, but also huge responsibilities and sometimes hiccups that come from working at home. Thankfully, we are not alone in this. Margie Figueroa of Funshine Education Services, has begun a successful remote working at home online business. And she is here to share a little bit with us in terms of her work from home flow and how she's done that as a mom. So welcome, Margie.
Hi, Melissa. Thank you for having me today.
Oh,
Really
I'm so glad
excited to
you're
be here.
here. Yeah, well, it's fun. We connected. We were collabing with a bunch of other teacherpreneurs, many of whom are moms as well. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business that you started?
Sure. I was a classroom teacher for 14 years, and due to some pressure and lots of things that are going on in the school system, I decided to do things on my own and kind of do my own thing and be my own boss. So I started Funshine Educational Services a little bit over a year ago. And thanks to the grace of God, it's going really well. It's grown. It has become something that I never imagined it would become. And so I've experienced a lot of growth, not only in the business, but as a person, as a mom, as an entrepreneur, as an educator. So that's where we're at. I'm also a mom of two. I've been married for 14 years. So balancing, going from the classroom to being not only a stay-at-home mom, but also a business owner has been challenging.
Yeah.
But I found my way, and I have found ways to balance. And so I'm really excited to chat about that today and help your viewers.
That's huge. Okay. Well, I think a lot of us, and we've kind of bonded over the fact that like there are really cool things about our jobs, but there's also really hard stuff. So let's start with the hard stuff. We'll get into the good stuff later, but let's just identify what's been kind of the harder things, the challenges that come with the responsibilities of being a business owner and a mom.
Well, as you start a business, you want to do it all, right? You want to do it all. You want to achieve success really fast because this is your baby, right? But just as you raise your own baby, you want to raise your baby as your business as a baby as well. You can't walk or run, so to speak, comparing it to raising a child in a business. You have to start small, build, learn a lot, because as edupreneurs, we didn't go to school for business. We went to school to learn how to teach. So that's also a learning curve that I went through, where I had to teach myself how to run a business, how to manage a business, how to market, all of that. So that's been the hard part, one of the hard parts, trying to tackle it all and really learn about business. But that's not what we learned about in college. So for me, that's been the most difficult part. Learning the business side of things.
The business side of things. And I think a lot of people can identify with that. If you're here with us, thank you. Welcome. And leave your questions in the chat. We would love to know what's kind of challenging for you in terms of being a mompreneur. I think a lot of us are going to mention maybe mom guilt at some point, and also the business side of things. So I would totally raise my hand for that, Margie. Me too. Down to things like taxes. I mean, before I was handed a 1099 or W-8 or whatever form I needed, and boom, all done, and it's not my problem. But now, I had to learn, and I had to learn the hard way in some ways because I didn't turn in like a Schedule C or whatever. So thankfully I've got a tax person now, but there's so much that we can kind of glean. And I feel like a lot of that might come from like systems and habits that we get into. I know that's been huge for me. Do you have any systems or habits that you feel like have really been game changers for you?
I do, actually. I made sure my own kids, they are public school students. They attend public school. And so they have a calendar, and they have a public school calendar. And so what I did was I adopted that calendar into my business calendar. So my operational days is the same as my kids. So one of my unspoken rules is if my kids are off, I'm off. If my kids are not at school, I'm not working, I'm not tutoring. Now, there are some exceptions for that, like teacher planning days and things like that. But overall, if they have spring break or Christmas break or Thanksgiving break, those major holidays, I'm not working. That's one of my unspoken rules. And I started that from day one. The parents from my business, my clients, the families, they have been extremely, extremely supportive of that. They are all for it. They also agree with having, that work life, personal life, family balance, which is so important because they're trying to achieve it too. Yeah. So they're trying to take their kids out on Thanksgiving break or spring break and things like that. So a lot of the times they just say, you know what? That's good because we're going on a cruise or whatever the case is. So
oh my gosh, I love
that's
it.
one of my unspoken rules. That it's the same. My child's school's calendar is mine.
That's awesome. And I feel like, when I think about when I am not the parent I want to be, a lot of times that comes from like the stress of like, hey, what am I rushing to get done? What did I not do earlier? Or what do I feel like I'm behind on? Or like I didn't complete like my duties for, and getting all those things, getting our ducks in a row ahead of time with planning or making sure that we've taken off the days that we need to. If our kids are going to be home, we don't want to be rushing around. Hey, shh, be quiet. I'm in class, that sort of thing when they're home, because that's not really who the moms that we want to be. And so I think that's another part where systems and these habits can really help us.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Not to say that we've got it all together.
Especially with scheduling, I've gotten my schedule, my weekly schedule, and I've said, okay, I need to do my mom stuff, right? I need to do my wife stuff. I need to do my homemaker stuff. Where can I put this into my schedule? And I printed a schedule and okay, this is my time blocking, which I use all the time for, personal things, homemaker things, errands, making appointments, things like that are separate from my business. I make sure that I block time, at least an hour or two per day. There's times that I'm making dinner and it's 10 in the morning. It's just the way it is the mompreneur struggle, right? If this is how it's going to be, or how it's going to work for me so that I can make sure my family eats, and eats a healthy meal and eats a home cooked meal, then so be it. This is when I can do it. So that is extremely, extremely important for me as well. Scheduling that time and making sure, okay, this time block is for personal things, wife things, mom things. And the rest of the day is for my business, administrative tasks, actual tutoring, things like that.
All right. I love that because, and this is something that I think about all the time. Tell me if you thought about this. I'm like, people like my friends are making lunch all over the world right now. Like everybody has to make lunch somehow. Like, of course there might be the occasional like order out, but like, wow, that's so cool. Like we do amazing things every day. And it takes,
we're effort. Superheroes. Moms are superheroes.
It's amazing. But I feel like there are these unspoken tasks. So I think it's really the idea of time blocking. Again, raise my hand for that because there are, there's definitely a place. And my kids, remind me how old your kids are. My kids are like 10, 8, 6, and 4. How old are
my daughter's 12 and my son is 7, turning 8 in a couple of weeks. Shout out. Hi, Alyssa and Kevin. I think they're watching.
Well, the idea of then being there to train up our kids in like, hey, it's your turn to clean the windows and the glass and the mirror in the bathroom. When do you want to do that? And being able to give them that type of time blocking idea for themselves, but also time blocking for myself. When am I going to clean the toilet? I'm not going to make them clean the toilet yet. I'll do that part, but the other stuff they can do. So figuring out these ways to then involve our kids in the tasks that need to be done, because it is part of kind of a family economy of getting everything done. And we're all going to kind of contribute however we can. So I think these are a lot of the struggles that we have. I totally resonate with a lot of these. And if you're with us, feel free to leave your ideas in the comments of what you struggle with most as a mompreneur. Let's get into like what we're kicking butt at, Margie, because I think we are. There's some things that we're doing well, and it's really worthwhile to call those things out and highlight those. So what do you feel like you're doing well so far?
Well, since I've created that schedule, I've been able to stick to it, and I've stuck to it really well, and it's been successful. Especially, I've really been really strict on it, like starting in August. just a month, but it's really, really worked well. So Monday mornings are my errands days where I go grocery shopping, things like that. We've also taken time as a family to sit during the weekends, and we've planned out our dinners for the whole week. Sometimes it's my day, it's my day to make dinner. Sometimes it's my husband's day, and they get to have a say in dinner. And my kids are foodies. Like, they love to eat, they love to try new things. So that's important for them, for them to have a say. They have their favorite restaurants. So if it's a day that we can order out, we do that, or go out depending on our schedules. So I make sure that they have a say as well. So that's been, sticking to a schedule and planning. The planning of the dinners have been huge, because as a tutor, someone who offers educational services, my schedule is, the afternoons are heavy duty. It's back to back to back to back usually. And so dinners was a huge thing that was a challenge for us as a family, a challenge for me as a mom, as a wife. And so just those 10 minutes, it takes us 10 minutes. We plan out our dinners, and it's made a huge difference because we're sticking to a schedule and we really plan it out. So
I love that. That's great. But I feel like it's identifying those tricky spots where, like, I always feel angsty when it comes time to dinner. What are we going to do to rectify this? And you've taken steps to do that. That's huge. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Something that I really wanted to improve on this year was, like, we homeschool and we have 4 kids. And so there's quite a bit that needs to get done in terms of school, because our youngest is now doing preschool and kindergarten stuff. And so I feared at the beginning of this year, just a month ago, oh my gosh, I'm going to hate school again. I'm going to want to go downstairs and then just be like, oh, but I need to be doing this, but I need to be doing this. And now my step that I took to kind of free my mental bandwidth up a little bit was to have less evening classes, less evening responsibilities, to be able to get some of those admin things done, the invoicing, the emails, the follow-ups. I tend to plan in blocks of like 5 and 10 weeks for my students. Whenever they pay, I plan the whole time that they've paid for. And that has really allowed me to not have this angst over my non-working time when I wish I could be doing some of those other tasks. So I love it. So if you're feeling the angst, I would encourage you, as Margie and I have both done, identify that area and see what you can do, what steps you can take to kind of do that. Any other advice on that point? No worries if not, but
the commonality that we have between us, is the scheduling, the planning. I think that's huge. So what I did, I took a step into summer and I said, okay, I really need to, last year was pretty good. We experienced a huge growth in the business. So, but I need to kind of, let me step back now that things have slowed down. Let me step back and let me think about, what are my goals as an entrepreneur? What are my goals as a mother? What are my goals as a wife? And what are my goals personally in my personal life, for my own growth, my own mental well-being, my own physical well-being. And then I said, okay, let me plan the actionable steps. And then, all right, now let me establish boundaries, right? And now let me plan it out, right? Yeah. So I think it's important for us as mompreneurs and trying to achieve that balance, to step back and really think about those goals. And then, as we both spoke about, make a plan for it. I think that's huge. I think that's super important, and it's working. So
yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, and I think even like personal well-being, I know for me, figuring out a time, things that were important to me that I knew I needed to include in that time blocking were things like, I think we talked about this before, like being in the Word, having time to pray in the morning. That's something that's really important to me. And I don't want to leave that for later in the day. So that is really important because it's actually quiet in the morning. And then also a workout. I don't feel like myself really if I don't get a good workout in. So I wake up really early and it's cringy, but it's 4 a.m. And then that 4 to 5 is my quiet time. Nothing is happening during that time except for quiet time and a workout basically starting at 5 in the morning, unless I'm teaching at 5 in the morning. And so there's just, it's a lot, but I knew that's what needed to happen in order to be the person that I wanted to be when I go downstairs. I leave my office at about 8:30 in the mornings. So where have you kind of seen that absence makes the fart, The heart, absent makes the heart grow stronger, grow fonder, excuse me. Where have you kind of seen that play out?
Well, my kids, personally, my kids, we try to make time for each child, to have their own thing and really, take them out and do something that they like to do. For example, my son likes to go to places like Sky Zone. He likes to jump on the trampoline. He's very, very active. So, going out, riding bike, going to the park, Sky Zone, different places where he can be active and get his energy out. Those are his favorite places. So we try our best to take him to those type of places. Whereas my daughter, she's more like, all right, I want to watch a movie, or I want to go watch a sports game or something like that. So obviously they're two different kids, two different people. They have their likes, they have their dislikes. So we try to kind of, all right, you go to Sky Zone, you go to the sports game, and they have some time apart. And so that really helps when they come back together, and it helps with their relationship. And that's where that saying comes in, where absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah.
And we try to do that as a family, give them that personal time, of course. And it goes back. We got to schedule it, right? We got to put it in our schedule. So that way we know we're still working towards our entrepreneurship goals. We're still working towards our goals as a mom, as a wife, but we're also, giving that individual time that each child needs. So,
yeah, totally. And I think, and on the flip side, there is kind of a fun space to involve kids in the business. I'd be interested to hear how you've done this. I know for me, creating products on Teachers Pay Teachers, it almost always comes from something that I've done with them, either in our homeschool or for my online teaching students. And so I'll test it out on them, or I'll say, hey, give me, I do a lot of writing prompt journals on TPT. And so I'll be like, hey, give me a girl's name, give me a Spanish girl's name, give me a French girl's name. And then we'll be able to come up with these names that I can add into the product. And it's fun. It's fun for them to be involved. And then also, telling stories about students or funny things that happened in class. It makes them feel like they're a part and not excluded from our businesses. So this is something that our family kind of does, and it's not just mom's thing or dad's thing. Any anecdotes from your side on that?
I love that. I need to do a better job at that. I love that, involving them. I love that. I mean, sometimes they'll come in during a tutoring and they'll say, can I say hi? I'm like, sure. And they'll say hi. But,
that's awesome.
I have to do a better job at including them in the products and things like that.
It's
for
fun.
them to give me ideas.
And figuring out, and I asked them for suggestions. Hey, what do you think about this game? What would you want? What other themes could we do this game with? That sort of thing. So they've got good ideas, and hey, they're like the target audience for a lot of these products that I'm creating. And so it's like, why wouldn't I ask and do my research on them? So I love it. Okay. Well, last question as we wrap up, Margie, what do you love about being in the edupreneur, mompreneur space right now?
Where do I start? I love this. I love being an entrepreneur. It's you don't have someone like breathing down your neck, telling you what to do all the time. And if you've been in education, it's not an easy place to be at right now. I understand that a lot of people don't have a choice, and they need the stability, they need the benefits, they need their retirement, the pension, all of that, 100% understood. But being an entrepreneur has helped me kind of achieve that balance of being able to not only be an awesome mom, but also do my own thing as a teacher and really execute my passion for teaching and helping parents, and also supporting other educators. And it's really been amazing. And so being an entrepreneur is, whether it's a side hustle or you want to do this full time, it is possible. So I want to encourage all your viewers that if you have a dream to become an entrepreneur, it is not impossible. It is very possible. Whether you're a mom or you're a parent, just do it. Learn about business, learn about how you can manage a business, because that's step one, right? Step one, managing a business, and then just take your passion and execute it.
Awesome. Hey, I'm sorry about that. I had to freeze for a second, but I'm sure Margie gave some fantastic advice right there. You guys, thanks for being here. And Margie, thank you. I love learning from you. Love teaching alongside you. And
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah. And to everybody here, thank you for doing what you're doing. It's important, and happy teaching. See you out there.